Hello everybody, this is Jenny the Artsy-Rose and welcome back to Philip's main story. We are just about to embark on chapter 5, so let's and this is the last day I will have Philip's little birthday effect on. Once today's over, I am gonna take it down and change my after outfit because I can do that. Well, shall we proceed? Philip's main story, chapter 4. We heard the sound of someone running away, and Philip and I looked at one another. We chased after the person, looking all around, but we failed to discover their identity. What do we do now? I was at a loss on what to do. Philip's warm hand came to rest on my back. I'm sorry. I thought I had made you lose your smile, but I won't negotiate on that. It's not that. I looked at Philip, who had bowed his head in apology and sighed. I didn't want to put pressure on Philip. I just... Say, Philip, why do you want to stay in the realm of the dead? I cannot say. Oh, then... What would it take to make you go back to the world of the living? I was far too worried about his safety. Telling from his actions, it seemed like he was just out. He was here just out of curiosity or some other baked reasoning. There was no doubt that his reasoning ran much deeper than that, telling from his brooding look and the decisiveness in his eyes. He poked me between the eyes. I was least expecting it. What was that for? You had a crust between your eyes. You? But despite the fact that he was teasing me, I could see the sadness that put a smile. And because of that, my frustration for him didn't last long. My frustration with him didn't last long. After I finished my book, once I finish writing the book I've talked to you about, then I'll go back. I promise. So I want you to let me stay here for just a little bit longer. He spoke with such urgency that I had the illusion that by here he meant by my side. All right. I nodded, as I had made up my mind to approve of this terribly large secret between us, and so... His book, that's right. I was reminded of importance. Philip, there's one more thing I have to tell you. What is it? I explained to him briefly what the king had said to me. Which means, if you don't write that story about His Majesty and I, you will be executed. Is there any way you can manage to write something? You could manage to write something? You are still alive, which means you would die if he had you executed. But even if you feel you can't, just write. I don't want to see you die. I might be hurting his pride as an author, but his life is more important. I pleaded with him in earnest. He looked as if he were to agree, and took a deep breath. I have never been able to deny a request from you. He grimaced. I could say the same thing, but the authority of a princess is a force to be reckoned with. I was thinking about the request of his. I was thinking about the request that I just agreed to when I realized something. The authority of a princess. I parted with Philip after that and returned to my room alone. The person we lost track of after hearing footsteps in the library. The gateway to the land of the living. Philip would need to get back. The story about the king and I organized the thoughts in my head as I worked. He's going to write a story about the king and I after we discuss it, so I won't worry about that for now. Hopefully I can use my influence as a princess to find out the owner of those footsteps. I lay back on the bed, trying to figure out a way of sorting everything out smoothly. The biggest problem is the gateway into the land of the living. I've learned a lot about Niflheim by now, but I've never heard of such a thing. I wonder if it exists. But if one does exist, then where might I find it? But I'm careless about who I ask. I might give Philippe's secret away. I'll need to be careful who I ask. I was still pondering that thought when I heard a knock at the door. I switched off my thoughts and opened the door. Philippe had come for just as promised. Alright, would you mind telling me about His Majesty? Okay. How does His Majesty speak words of love? Excuse me. Oh, I answered him to the best of my ability and writing everything down. I was staring at his bold profile when he suddenly looked up and our eyes met. Oh, are you thirsty? I was reeling, and so I got up with some water from my pitcher just to pretend otherwise. Princess, allow me to... Ah! I spun around, with Philip standing directly behind me. I carried toppled in my hands, splashing all over Philip's clothes. Sorry! I quickly tried to mop it up with my hands, but I only managed to make it spread. But I only made it spread farther instead. Is there nothing I can use to dry you off? You don't need to be so worried, Princess. But I do! You're still alive, so if you catch a cold... I was starting to act a bit overzealous and trying to keep Philip from harm. We should at least get you changed. Princess, calm down. Just then, there came a knock, and the door opened. This isn't good. Well, this isn't good. Time seemed to stand still for a moment, but Skeletano was the first one to recover. Don't mind me, just think of me as one of the models. Please continue. Bones, a model wouldn't... And I'm afraid that there isn't anything you hope to see going on here. Continue with what? Oh! Philip's clothes were hanging half off him, and I was still pulling on them. I was still pulling hard at them. Even I could tell what he meant. How do I get myself into these predicaments? Oh shoot. Yeah, that's my study alarm. I need to explain. There's a good reason for all this, Skeletano. Really? I am terribly curious to know. Please do explain. Skeletano was just as enthusiastic to listen as I was desperate to explain. I don't think he's understood you at all, Princess. For some reason, I might be right. It looks like it might be best if I to him. If I explain here. And with that, Philip explained what had happened in the manner of one used to Skeletano's enthusiasms. After a few moments, Skeletano seemed to deflate a bit, and he looked like he still had questions, but the matter had at least been solved. Shall we start your lesson then, Princess? I should be going now. There's no need to leave. Please stay and join us if you would. Skeletano was only being lenient because he was but that ended up working in my favor, and I couldn't help smiling at Philip as he sat back down next to me. This lesson is going to be free. And I'll be right back. And I'm back. Change the subject to study questions. Oh, are you here to discuss something to do with my studies, Skeletano? I have I do not wish to interrupt your lesson with Philip about the forbidden fruits. Can you just please forget all of this? It looks like it might be best if I explain here. I will be right back. The lesson of the forbidden fruits. Skeleton. I had a flash of inspiration while Skeletana was talking about Niflheim's history. Hey, Skeletana. Feeling a bit nervous, I spoke up in a tone that suggested there was no motive behind my words. Well, what is it? Do you know anything about a gate to the land of the living? Philip glanced over at me. Why do you ask that, Princess? I heard about it from a ghost, and I was curious. I'm hoping that Philip will write a new love story featuring the living, and so I was gathering information. Princess, as a fan, it is one thing to remind the author, but but surely it cannot hurt to do the research and present an idea to me. I suppose it is also something I would be interested in reading. I felt guilty for the genuine anticipation that Skeleton shone with. But I'm sorry, I cannot help you with your research, because I do not know. I see. Oh, but Lord Orlando might know something. Should I try asking him? No, you don't have to do that. And I think protecting the premise of a new story is more important, don't you? You're right. It's just as you say. I'm sorry for lying to you. Skeletona nodded deeply as I asked him to promise not to speak of our discussion to anyone, and our lesson came to an end. Why did you ask that just now, Princess? I wanted to make sure it didn't get out that you were alive when I asked. That's not what I meant. He slowly turned his head to the side. There's something I wish to say once more to you. I gulped, seeing the grave look in his eyes. Wait. Oh, okay. For a moment, I was really confused. I thought, well, I guess that's it for now. I don't believe I don't think I'll record tomorrow, but I'll continue. We'll continue where we left off. I am Jandy, the Artsy-Rose, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.